Yep. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, good morning, wherever what part of the world you are watching us from today. Um, it's nice to be here. Thank you for joining us. Please invite your friends, invite people you care about, people you think should listen to the broadcast of today. Kind of quickly talk to them so they come around, and then we can do this as we usually do it every Saturday. All right. Thank you, everybody who is connecting right now. I know we're about 8 minutes behind the normal time. Thank you for those who are connecting. Please keep connecting. Let us see more people connect, and then you can also like and share. If you're on Facebook, on the Nutraceutical um, Health Solutions page on Facebook, you could go there and get to share this. Mrs. Billy Barua, good afternoon. Is it afternoon where you are? Mrs. Juliana Elori, good evening. Correct. Okay, it's evening there. Mrs. Kemi, good afternoon. Mrs. Billy Barua, good afternoon. Comeno, how are you doing? So, what emojis that one you are dropping? Are you waving or you are Mrs. Temitope Adekoya? Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, people are connecting now on Instagram. We are live on Instagram as well. M48, Face of Angels 8526, Topsin01 joined. Yeah, please share this real quick. Um, updates on COVID-19 usually would precede. Okay, good. Oh, Mrs. Ibilola Tayo. Okay, good day, man. Yeah, updates on COVID-19 will usually be the first thing I'll talk about, and that might be the issue for now until uh, we are able to get the world out of this crisis that we have found ourselves, as it were. Um, okay, I had a very, I had a call yesterday about someone who had been diagnosed with lupus. Um, um, and before then, I know he had treated COVID. Um, and then I began to look at the symptoms. What are the similarities? What are those things that look like? You know, the, I'm not saying that symptoms of lupus and symptoms of COVID-19 are the same, but what we have discovered is that after people have been treated for COVID-19, there are certain autoimmune responses that could be triggered as after effect of the treatment of COVID-19. And this was what this person was actually going through, because that is exactly what lupus is. Lupus is an autoimmune disorder where the body begins to fight against itself. And that was what this fellow was going through. And then they were almost going to start putting him on medications for lupus. Again, if people have gone through COVID-19 and they're out of it, what we have discovered is that there is a need for them to use what we call the immunomodulator, which is the reishi ganoderma. Reishi mushroom, and it's called Ganoderma lucidum. Right. So we found out that that helps to regulate the immune response. It shuts down the expression from the cytokines in the system to start stimulating the white blood cells to keep fighting like there is a war, because that happens when the white blood cells have nothing more to fight. They begin to fight the cells of the body. So and that happens, and you find people having so many symptoms, some very terrible symptoms. And when I say very terrible, I mean some of these symptoms can be very, very terrible. Things people can't even explain: aches in the pain, ringing in the ears, pains in the joints of the body, all kinds of symptoms. There are so many symptoms that do show up, right? So my advice is that if anyone has treated COVID-19 and is exhibiting all of these symptoms, what they can do is to go right ahead to use reishi mushroom, which is an immunomodulator. It's all over as a supplement, it's over the counter supplement. You can order it and get it. Just ensure it's organic and it's the original one before you buy. If you are confused about what to buy, which brand, you can actually send us a message and then we can advise you on which brand to go for. All right, so I'm going to cap it up on that for the COVID-19 update, and then I will go on to what we have outlined for today. So today we will be going on to talk about the Hormone Reset, part 2 of it. Again, the weight loss bootcamp for July is going to commence in about 9 days. And so we are winding up upon registration. I think registration is going to close on the 19th or thereabout. So if you are yet to register, or you know somebody who should belong to that class, please get them engaged and let them sign up for that class. We'll be talking more about how to help you regulate your hormones and balance it and put it in reset. I've always said this, that for women, 9 out of 10 of the time, if anything will go wrong with the health of a woman, especially a woman who has already got into a reproductive age or years, the hormone is the first thing that will be attacked. So the hormones first get touched and they become imbalanced, they get distorted, and those distortions are like a very good ground for certain conditions to begin to breed. I was going to say infirmities, okay. So certain conditions begin to breed because of those conditions, right? And so this bootcamp is meant to help women to reset their hormones. And last about 4 weeks right now, we've been talking about natural responses to women's health. Last week, we switched over to talk about the hormones. And last week, we mentioned the thyroid hormones and how they function and how you can actually help yourself if you find yourself having any symptoms. If you think that you are having a thyroid dysfunction, as it were, you would need to do some of the things we mentioned last week. And at best, please seek medical attention. Plus medical attention, please listen to the video of last week. And today I'm going to talk about another important hormone for women. This hormone is very important. But before then, I was talking about the bootcamp. So please send an SMS to the number showing on your screen for people who are watching us on Instagram and YouTube. You can people on Facebook and YouTube can see the number 234-802-451-1817. 234-802-451-1817. For people on Instagram, if you go to our Instagram page where you're watching us from right now, there are flyers there already talking about this program and this bootcamp coming up. So you can actually get information there. I'm going to talk about Air Perfect one more time. I mentioned it. I've been talking about this in the last 2 weeks, and I've been told people have been calling. Please do call. I want to, as much as possible, support businesses that are promoting organic materials and making healthy food available to our people. What people have often told me is that, where do we get all these things you say we should be eating? Where do we get them? Yeah, they are there. They may not have the big money to put billboards like the big companies who are producing the other food that we're trying to warn people against. And that is the reason we will keep talking about. Good afternoon, Mrs. Abose Rita, deal with me. Mrs. Abe Special. You know that that's a guy or a lady. Good afternoon, wherever you're calling from. So that is the reason we want to promote businesses like Air Perfect and ensure that people know where to get these things. So you can see their numbers. So if you're watching on Instagram and YouTube, the numbers are there. 08055065794, 08061611996 for people on Instagram. You can also send a DM on Instagram if you want to get any of these numbers, and then we can send the numbers to you if you do not get them. I don't have any share in the company. I'm not a shareholder, I'm not a stakeholder there. One of the things that our bootcamp is also bringing up now is saying that we start seeing products from the students who are people who are participating in the bootcamps, because we need to encourage people to come up with better things that people can live with that will promote their health and their good living. Okay. So having said that, the nutraceutical health college is also coming up. August is the time. $200 is the fee. If you really want to know more on how to help yourself, how to help your health and the health of other people, this is a class for you to attend. Participants are being drawn from every part of the world. It's going to be an online session every Saturday in the month of August is where what is going to take us to have that session. So I will invite you and then join you to register for it. It's a training like no other. A good doctor is a teacher. That is the principle. A good doctor is not somebody who is just writing prescription. Why, you are done. Go and buy this. That is not a good doctor. A good doctor is a teacher. And so if you want to know about your health, what you need is more education and not more medication. So that school, that college is going to be very important for you. I think I will advise that you register. The number is showing for people who are watching on Instagram right now. The number is 1+1 214 624 2783 +1 214 624 2783. That is the number for those who are on Instagram. And you can also send a DM on Instagram. I think the posters, the flyers for that college is going to be out. People are already registering. People are registering already. So please join the class. You are going to be, it's going to be probably the best thing you ever do during this lockdown. I can guarantee you. It's life-changing. It's a complete turnaround for your life. It's going to be a blessing to you. It's something I think you need to join. Okay. People have also been asking about the beta tea that I spoke about some weeks back. Yeah, it's still available. Just send a number to the number here. Send a WhatsApp message to this number to know how you can get this tea. Beta tea that's what it's called, but codedly I've told you what it does. So in this period, this is your go-to tea. I have stopped. If people talk to me about what they want, that's the number to call to send SMS to for the tea. 234-802-451-1817. 234-802 +234. Sorry, the code in Nigeria 802-451-1817. So I've stopped spending my time trying to tell people how to make the 3 combo tea, put ACV, take it 3 times. It's a waste of my time. You buy Cinchona, even before Cinchona arrives, the pain people go through. So I tell them to go get tonic water and all of that. But this combo, this tea is already packaged. It's got everything you want. It's in a tea bag. Just get it and use it, and then you're fine. The recovery time has usually been 2 to 3 days. I have not seen anybody who had used it in the last since I've been introducing to people that will stay with the virus for 2 or 3 days. They are back on their feet, right? So good afternoon, ma. Mrs. Olufunka Shaolu. Good afternoon, ma. So please go get that tea. It's going to be of a benefit. It lowers blood sugar. It helps with people that have high blood pressure. It also helps in weight management. People who are in the bootcamp are going to need that tea. I've already recommended it for a group, the plus size. I'm saying for everybody right now, go get that beta tea. All right. Okay, so let us go today to talk about the hormone reset. And the hormone we'll be talking about today is the hormone progesterone. There are 2 hormones for women that are very important. There are 2 very important hormones for women because they are very active during the reproductive years for women. And my advice is that women should pay attention. Again, like I said, if you have... Thank you. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. That's my pastor. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Yeah, my cap, I've been using my cap for a while now since we can't go to the salon to have a haircut. So I try to cover my hair with it. Okay. All right. So if you're a woman, you need to pay attention to this episode. Today, I will talk about one of the hormones, and next week, I will talk about the second one. The 2 hormones are progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone and estrogen. And my advice is that you want to listen as carefully as possible to this week's episode and the one for next week. As a matter of fact, next week from Tuesday to Friday, every 12 p.m. GMT +1, that is the 12 p.m. Nigeria and UK time, I'll be talking to ladies in ministry It's titled Lifestyle Therapies for Women in Ministry. Lifestyle Therapies for Women in Ministry. And this is going to involve pastors' wives, female pastors, female evangelists, lady evangelists, and the likes of them. If you know anybody like that, the poster is going to be out by Sunday latest, tomorrow latest Monday. You want to invite them to join me on this same station on YouTube. I'm not going to be on Instagram. It's going to be on YouTube and on Facebook alone. And then they would need to listen to that series from Tuesday down to Friday. But for today, I'll be speaking specifically about these two hormones, because these two hormones, there are many things that could cause cancers. But for women, one of the critical factors to consider once cancer is identified are these two hormones, progesterone and estrogen. Estrogen there are about 3 hormones all called together to be estrogen, estradiol and the likes of them. But we are going to be focusing today on progesterone. Now, before cancer, for most cancer cases, the hormonal imbalance that is observed is that there is estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance will happen when there is no enough progesterone. So the balance is tilted towards the side of estrogen. And this has been faulted in so many cases of cancer in women. And so it's so important today that I want to make this, I will just explain it as simple. It's not simple, right? And I discovered that most doctors don't even try to explain to you. They just tell you go and take medication and then push you out there, because they spent 7 years and several years, not what I just said now. They spent 7 years and several years. A doctor's training does not end after medical school or medical college. In fact, their training just started when they finish medical school. It's a lifelong of studying that doctors do, and we have to praise them, appreciate them, and thank them for the good work they do for humanity. Regardless of all the complications that are surrounding the profession and everything you can think about. But for anyone to decide to go out there and save lives, those people deserves our appreciation. It's a whole lot of work. So sometimes that's the reason they can't just explain to you, oh, this is this is that, this is it, because it can be so complicated. Remember, one of the things I do say is the quoting the psalmist, when the psalmist David in the Psalm said, I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. One translation makes it so succinctly by saying, I am complex. I'm complex, not complicated, right? But you are complex. The way God has made the human body is so complex. And, and if the human body normally is complex, like some people have told me not to say about women, so I won't use the word complicated. Women are sophisticated. So they are more sophisticated because, like I said again last week, the man seems to be the old version of God. When they say he made them in the image of God, men were the old version. Women are the latest version of God that God made and put on the face of the earth. And so they are more sophisticated, they are more delicate, they are more unique. And so it's important for us to focus very well and understand what goes on in the body and in the health of a woman. In fact, there are branches of medical sciences devoted and dedicated to the study of the health of women. Right? So everybody talks about that. There is a branch that talks about their reproductive years, a branch that talks about their pregnancy period. Why? Because they know it's so important. I don't think there's any branch that studies men in medicine, because they are just rugged. Don't worry, anything goes. You can treat them and handle them and they'll be fine. But for women, it takes a whole lot to study them, and it's unfortunate that most women don't take this important. The other material things take the attention of most women than the real things that matter. And these are the things that we will be talking about and we'll be dealing with. We've been talking about them for the last 3 weeks, and then today again we'll continue, and next week again I'm going to continue. I think for the whole month of July I'll be talking about these issues about women. So by August we are moving to talk about men, so women can take the back seat now. but I know they will not, because that's why women are so good. You know, they will not say, because they're talking about men, I will not be there. Men won't come here now because they think it's about women. All right, so thank you all the women for joining, and the few men that are also listening, we really appreciate you. All right, so I would start today by, like I said, progesterone and estrogen. They are both steroid hormones, and then progesterone belongs to the class of hormones that are called progestogens. Now, I will make a distinction between progestogens, which are natural, and these are the steroid hormones, and progestins. Progestogens and progestins. Now, progestins are the synthesized, they are synthesized hormones to mimic, or like they look like, the natural progesterone. So whenever I'm talking about progesterone, I'm talking about the natural progesterone. And so when it's time for me to refer to progestins, I'm going to call them by the name progestins because they are synthesized, they are not natural. And I'm going to be talking about the implications of that. Many people do not know, and so that is why things go out of normal, right? So what do progesterones do in the female body? There are about 4 functions that are performed by progesterone. Now, if you have women who have issues with endometriosis, cramps, and some other menstrual issues like that, it's most likely because of an alteration in the progesterone level. Either it is not enough, or it is not sufficient, or the quality is poor, which is why they are having those conditions. Now, okay, I'm going to explain to you briefly the functions. What does the progesterone do? Now, after ovulation, around the second half of the menstrual cycle, for every woman, normally, now I'm going to put the word normally, that's an ideal situation, what should be happening, but it's not what happens all of the time, right? So during that half time after ovulation, the body produces an endocrine gland, which is temporary. It is called, don't bother about the names, it is called corpus luteum. Even the name sometimes even means that I get confused, but don't worry about the name. Just take the simple things, right? Okay, so I'm going to make it as, like I said, I will make it as simple as possible. Now, it is the corpus luteum that secretes progesterone. Now, that is the work of the corpus luteum. So, endocrinologists will understand this because a whole lot of those stuff has to do with the endocrine system. Now, so it is a temporary endocrine gland, and then secretes corpus luteum. You can see now I'm about to break my teeth. And so it is the corpus luteum that produces the progesterone. So it secretes the hormone progesterone. And what do they do? Now, number one thing they do is that they thicken the mucous membrane lining of the uterus. Why do they thicken it? They make it thickened so that the uterus can take in a fertilized egg. So you see why some women will not be able to conceive if there is an alteration or an imbalance in that hormone, because it is the hormone that will make the mucous membrane of the lining of the uterus, which is what is called endometrium. Endometrium is that mucous membrane that lines the uterus. So it is thickened. Making it thickened makes it able to grab and hold on to a fertilized egg. Now, when this cannot happen, there is no way conception can take place. So you can see the problem. I think I've mentioned it under this program, that when it comes to fertility, for women, there are about 21 issues that we may want to consider and resolve, right? I'm not saying 21 solutions will resolve 21 issues. There are some of the issues that one solution might resolve about 5, 6, or 7 of those conditions. But for men, about 3 issues. Once those 3 issues are addressed, a man should be fit enough for conception, to be fertile, to make conception happen. But for women, there are about 21. Now, so this is just one out of several. Now, if the progesterone is not produced well enough to cause the lining of the mucous membrane lining of the uterus to be thickened to receive fertilized egg, conception cannot take place. So that is the first thing that happens. The second thing is that it also prohibits muscle contraction. Now, in the uterus, the uterus will have the capacity to contract once an egg gets in. Now, if the if the uterus does not contract to keep the egg, right? If the uterus, the contraction keeps the egg. If the uterus does not contract enough to be able to keep the egg is rejected. There are women who that happens to as well. People who have gone through IVF will tell you all of these stages. Some of them do the IVF, it fails. And that failure will make them to begin to resolve, okay, so what happened? What went wrong? Why did the IVF go wrong? And that, so some of them have those, they begin to explain some of these steps and processes. So they're now, okay, well, if this cannot happen, let us skip this process and skip this process. Then let's go and meet conception as another process. So they can skip the first 2, 3, 4, 5 processes and go to jump 6 for them to meet up with conception. But that is the level the woman's body can carry. So the progesterone would do that. It's going to prohibit muscle contraction in the uterus. So because if that does not happen, if that contraction does not happen, the egg will be rejected. So the egg gets fertilized, it gets into the uterus because the mucus has been taken, mucous membrane has been taken. But if there is contraction, it's going to push it out. Just like if the baby is about to be born, they say the woman should contract, because the contraction will allow the baby to be released. So progesterone, okay, well, that's also part of the job of the progesterone during delivery. It's what is the hormone that helps the woman to contract and then pushes out the baby. So if that is done at the stage where the egg is yet to be fertilized, it's going to push out and expel the egg. The egg has not fully formed, so it's going to just expel it. So some will call that a miscarriage. Of course, it happens in so many women like that, right? So now, if the woman does not become pregnant, let's assume that there was no fertilized egg, the mucous membrane lining of the uterus was thickened, contraction did not take place, and there is no fertilized egg. The corpus luteum, which we call, remember I said, is a temporary endocrine gland. So it comes on and off. It comes during the second half of ovulation, during the menstrual cycle. That is when it comes up. So if there is no fertilized egg, then the corpus luteum breaks down. It lowers the progesterone levels in the body, and this is what triggers menstruation, which is what is called the shedding of that blood. So what is being released and being pushed out is that corpus luteum. So that is what is being pushed out from the female body. So that is what triggers menstruation. And so when the menstrual period is becoming irregular, these are one of the things that we want to consider, that something is wrong. If it is too little, if it is a spot, or it is too much in its flow, then it means something around that area is wrong. Like I said, this is just one. There are two hormones, progesterone and estrogen. So today we are just focusing on progesterone, right? So the next stage of it all, the next function of what it does is that if the placenta develops, for example, let's say, okay, now this time around, there is a fertilized egg, meaning that the woman has been active, an egg has been produced and released into the uterus. The uterus mucous membrane lining has been thickened, the egg has been received, and then the placenta develops. What the progesterone, then progesterone is also secreted. The secretion supports the corpus luteum. So instead of the corpus luteum to rupture and break, then it's pushed out. It forms part of the support system for the placenta and then the progesterone production continues. So the pregnancy is also preserved. The quality, the integrity of the pregnancy is also determined by the quality of the progesterone that is produced. So if a woman has compromised progesterone, even if conception takes place, now there could be a problem of miscarriage. If progesterone is not sufficient, the quality or the integrity is compromised, then there is likely going to be a miscarriage. So let's just follow me. I have mentioned about 3-4 things right now. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. If you have any question, if you are lost somewhere in the middle, just bust in that, okay, I'm lost. I'm going to see your question, and I will just take a break and then explain and go back again and explain it down. Now, so the level of progesterone in the body is maintained and sustained throughout pregnancy. It's going to be high, which shows that pregnancy is taking place. And even after pregnancy, progesterone is also the hormone responsible to prepare the breast for lactation, for milk production, right? So as it's working to preserve the placenta. It's also working on the breast so that milk production can take place. So these are the roles of progesterone right from the menstrual cycle to conception. So if conception takes place, because of the corpus luteum that produces the progesterone, the corpus luteum will not rupture or break down. Rather, it keeps pushing out more progesterone, and by pushing out more progesterone, the progesterone is able to to preserve the placenta. If there is no egg, no fertilized egg for that month, the corpus luteum is going to rupture, and then it's going to break. Let me not use the word rupture. It's going to break, and then after breaking, it's going to be pushed out to trigger what is called menstruation, which should take between 2 to 7 days. Normally, as we have said on previous edition of this one, I think that the first week we spoke about women's health, and when we talked about menarche, I broke it down. What is a normal period? What is the color? If your period is dark and always dark, that means something is wrong. It's an indicator that there's something wrong with the system. It shouldn't be dark. It shouldn't be a heavy flow. And when we define the word heavy. Heavy will mean having to change the sanitary wear more than twice in a day. So 1 to 2 is still okay. If it's going above 2, that is heavy. The flow is heavy. And if it's less than 1, then there's a problem. That one is also abnormal. So we want to keep it and ensure that the shedding is enough and sufficient. So you can now begin to reason within your mind and begin to explain to yourself. If you're not having enough flow, what is going wrong? Is there something wrong with your corpus luteum? Is the production not sufficient? Is it the quality or the integrity not enough? Because all of this will tell you that it could be very dangerous it could work against that person when it is time for the production to take place. All right, and this is going to happen throughout the reproductive cycle of a woman until the woman enters into menopause. Okay, so I have just given you a very brief preamble what the progesterone does. Now, I want to talk about that thing I spoke earlier on, which is the synthesized progesterone. Because when they now see that the progesterone is low, or the quality or the integrity of the progesterone in the woman is not good, you went for a test, the tested you, and so the quality is not enough, the integrity is not enough for conception to take place. So many things now are suggested. One of the suggestions is to give progestins. Progestins are the synthesized progesterone. They are progestins. They are synthesized hormones. They mimic the progesterone. That is what they do, but they are different. The progesterone is natural, progestin is synthesized, right? Or one would say artificial. So you can follow that in tabs. And so many women are using that. There are so many things they use it for. They use the progestin to alleviate menopause symptoms. They use progestin to supply. When women do hysterectomy, they use the progestin to supply hormone depletion. And again, this is the one dangerous one, is the use of progestin as birth control pills. Now, progestin, when progestin is introduced, it binds up with estrogen, and then which is another hormone, the second hormone I spoke to you about earlier on, and then they use that as a birth control method for women. I will speak about the side effect of that. It has so many side effects, and that's why I will always advise that please try to use non-hormone sensitive birth control methods, and there are several of them. And when people say that, oh no, I spoke with my gynae and all they told me is that there is no option, they are all hormones, and that is not true. There are. And then the Catholic faith do not even use any of this at all, and they have a method for birth control. I'm yet to study the method. I really want to study it. If it's something that people can adopt and adapt to, why not? Why not? Because whatever is going to, all we talk about here is just to ensure that our body receives things that are natural and that can keep the body healthy as much as we can. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about. Okay, I said it's used to in birth control. It's also used in cases of osteoporosis. It's also, some people when they have acne, the breakout, those severe breakout, they give them progestin to control acne. And again, some of the facial creams used by women contain progestin. And you see, I've had a client who had issues with fertility, And then while we're trying to work on remove all the toxins and all the possible issues that could be wrong with the lady, one of the key things that we paid attention to was the skin and beauty care products she was using. Some of them, contain progesterone aside the heavy metals, right? So people who have acne, have issues with their skin, it works faster, it resolves the matter. But please, when you are buying those products, have to look out for them. Do they contain any hormonal factor? If they contain any hormone factor, you want to quickly do away with them. Because once you apply them in your skin again, one of the options, solutions I'm providing, they are the use of feminine hormonal creams. And these hormonal creams, they are natural, right? They are extracts that are natural. And to apply them is even they are to be applied topically. Some are to be applied under the belly button, some around your navel, some on the inside of your forearm, and they work. They get the job done. Now, so the natural ones can do that. Even the artificial ones, the synthesized ones, they also do that. So it's important for you to pay attention, serious attention. Good evening, ma'am. Serious attention. Sorry, I'm greeting people. In our country, we greet people when you are passing. You greet, hey. Okay, all right. So I'm greeting people who are saying hi to me on the program. All right. So you want to pay attention to what you are using: the creams, the deodorant, the cologne, perfume. Sorry, that you wear. Again, you want to pay attention to the hair cream that you put on your body. Like I said, these two hormones are responsible. Their distortion is what is is one major factor that springs up cancers in women. Progesterone and estrogen. There are so many hair care products that contains chemicals that could alter the balances, and you want to walk and run away from those. So we'll be talking about some of them again as we go ahead in the program for today. I'm trying to be as fast as much as I can today. So for those who are just joining, I have said some things in the beginning. You may want to go back and rewind and listen to them from the beginning. So you want to rewind. So now I'm beginning to see people are just coming up now. Okay, he will have stopped talking about COVID-19. Okay, so let's go and join them. I'm just kidding. All right. So if the progesterone is not balanced in a woman, what are the signs? How do we know? Abnormal uterine bleeding. The woman will see that the period is going to be irregular, or you'll be having missed periods. Again, okay, that could be mixed symptoms of PCOS, polycystic ovarian, whatever. So you see women who will have their period maybe once in 6 months, once or twice in a year, and that's all they're going to have. Is because it's an abnormality. There's a malfunction in the progesterone hormone and some other hormones. I'm not saying that is the only one responsible. Like in the case of PCOS, there will be other factors that we have to deal with, but this is definitely one of them. You have people who have spotting. I mentioned that earlier. Spotting or excess bleeding, as the case may be. Abdominal pain during pregnancy, spotting during pregnancy. Abdominal pain during pregnancy can also happen for people who have imbalanced or dysfunctional progesterone levels. And then miscarriages will be very frequent. I spoke about that. Frequent miscarriages. I've explained that process. So you can imagine that it's going to take a miracle for any woman to conceive without a balanced progesterone. So those who are conceiving with well and they are coming out is because the progesterone level is normal. And then I will pray that God will make everything normal for those, especially those who are seriously and desperately looking up to God for the fruit of the womb. It's no child's play. I can only imagine what people go through when people talk about sex, like they want to have sex and stuff like that. Sex is not fun for people who want to have a baby, and they've tried several times. It's serious work. There are some of them who they are given a timetable when to have sex, calculating the ovulation period of the wife, and so many things like that. So it's no longer fun. But these are some of the things. And unfortunately, again, I said this when we started this series. I said I've encountered many of these young people. Some of them are no longer young. Some have been married for 15, 20 years. And are still believing God for the fruit of the womb. And when I ask them in 20 years that you have been going from one doctor to another, how many tests have you done? And they are quick to tell me, we have done many tests. They have tested us They say nothing is wrong. They can't find anything wrong. Some of them say we have done every test, not many tests. Some say we have done every test. And by the time I begin to look at the tests that they have done, I begin to spot all these errors that, okay, this test is not done. You have not really checked for this. You've not really checked for that. And then, it's then everybody's eyes now begin to open. Oh, wow. So, and some of these are just very simple corrections that could be made. And when those corrections are made, they come back, and then, things are reversed. How are you, ma? Mrs. Afon, you show me. God bless you, ma. Thanks for joining. And things are reversed. So we want to study and look at all of these things. Like I said, a good doctor is a good teacher. A good doctor teaches. He educates. He educates, not just gives you medication. Okay. All right. So when people use progestins will cause breast cancer. It's not what I am saying. It's not me that is saying that. You can go research it. Google is your friend. Go on WHO sites, and you're going to read it there. So it's something you want to stay away from. Especially you have young ladies who get introduced to the use of birth control pills, the hormonal ones, at a very early age. Right. Breast cancer, weight gain, cramps, weak bones. I'm not saying every breast cancer is caused by the use of birth control pills. So that there is no confusion in families now. Somebody will just go and meet the wife. Because you were using birth control pills when you were still 16, that means you're active. That's not what I'm saying. Right. So we're only saying possible side effects of using the synthesized progestin is breast cancer, weight gain. I've seen women from their waist up. The imbalance, you see, when in the bootcamp, one of the things we do is to ask women to send in the pictures. Let us see where the weight is accumulating. And one of the things I want to pay attention to is to look at the some people had weight disproportionately. By that I mean it's disproportional when it's only a section or a segment of your body that is accumulating weight, and then the other part of your body is normal. How do I mean? You see women from their waist down, they are normal. When I say normal, it's not really too excessive. But from their waist up, you see that it is disproportionately, they are disproportionately overweight. You see the arms, you see some women have shoulders like men, hefty. You see the neck, from the neck to the shoulder, you see it, the weight is there. And then everywhere from here up. But from the waist down seems to be like nothing is happening up there. Now, I have been able to identify women with such cases as women who took on the patches. That is a birth control patch that they put on the chip, the one they chip in on their shoulders, on their hands. I've seen many women. I'm not saying all. There are women who have used it and never altered their weight. Some people will use it, it will work well for them. So you need to be careful. What exactly, like I always say again, that no two bodies are the same. So that somebody is using it, is working for them, does not mean it will work for you. So you really need to study yourself and study your system. If you already have some issues, if you watch the first episode, please go back and watch that first episode about menarche. I spoke in that episode, that video, that is the foundation. And the problems with most women can be traced back to their foundation when they entered into that menarche. They began to have their menstrual cycle, the first menstrual cycle, and their episodes from there will help them to understand what is wrong with their health, even now that they're in their reproductive health. But it's not everybody who pays attention to that stage. So you may want to pay attention to that stage. Go back and look again. What did I do wrong during this age and phase of my life? What could I have done better? What were the signs and signals I saw? Now, if you were beginning to see some irregular signals and signs when you were much younger at the beginning, that could be a strong indication that any little thing will distort the hormonal balance in your system. You should run away from anything that can further distort your hormone balance. You should run away from it. So if the doctor is telling you, go and use it, just let them know that, look, I think I experienced certain things while I was growing. which are signals that my hormones can be distorted easily. There are some people that they are just like men in their ruggedity. They are so rugged. So they can still take some of the things and their hormones will still be able to tolerate it. But when you see those signals we mentioned in the first episode happen to you when you were much younger, that is a precursor to let you know that, look, anything that will distort your hormone is not for you. So what will be my advice is, I have to say this in 5 minutes on what to do. And if you observe this is happening, and if you have not yet tested your progesterone level, you don't even know what it is. It should be part of the results that should come out when you do your blood work for a comprehensive checkup. If you go for your medical exam, these are certain things that must be checked. You want to check your progesterone level, your estrogen level, check your thyroid function. There are all things that must be checked. And please stop this habit of going to the doctors. You do medical exams and you don't get a copy of your results. Your result is your property. You paid for it. You should be able to have a copy and file it. Can somebody do insurance for you without giving you an insurance certificate? Can you open a bank account and bank is saying, don't worry, just keep putting your money there, and you're asking them what's in their balance? They tell you, don't worry about your balance, just keep putting money there. Is that the way it is done? So why would you go to an hospital, you do a test, and then you just walk away? They give you medication and you just walk away. I met a lady who she didn't even do a test. She went as far as doing a biopsy, and then she doesn't even know the result. She did not even go back, whether it was benign or cancerous. She never went back there until about 9 months later, when the breast had begun to decay. At that point, really, I don't even know what to do anymore. I just told her, please go back and say, doctor, surgery is just the only thing I can recommend at this stage, because number one, we have to save your life if you still want to live. Why wait till that time? So don't be careless with your health. Take it as your responsibility. Get your results. File your results. Get a copy. If they tell you they want to file it, please, can I have a copy? Send me a copy in my email. You need to know these things and have them with you. They are yours. Because if anything happens, you can refer to them. And there are people that by the time they go back to that hospital, maybe the hospital has even closed down. God help you if you live in a place that I'm talking about, where hospitals can close down, doctors can disappear. And then you don't know anything. We can't relate to what happened to you 6 months ago, so that we can have a foundation to know how to treat you now. So please, these are vital information and they're important. So what would be my advice on diet? We've given several dietary advices, and I will want you to keep to those dietary advices. I want you to keep to those dietary advices that you have been given. They will help you a great deal, right? So please follow them. It's for your life. I don't gain anything by you not doing certain things. We've advised that remove processed and refined foods completely from your meal if you know you have issues with your progesterone. Avoid the use of hormone-sensitive contraceptive. I've said that. Ensure reasonable exposure to sunlight. The role of vitamin D3, I'm going to stress that reasonably next week while talking about estrogen. I will now talk about the balance and why vitamin D3 sunlight exposure is so crucial, because we talk about it every time. People just think you are overflogging this matter. I also strongly recommend, and I began advocating seriously for this about 7 years back, and I began to tell people who live abroad, if you care to say that, I began to tell them, please supplement your vitamin D3. Use vitamin D3 supplement. And I think doctors right now are doing that, especially for people of color. It's important for you to supplement vitamin D3 if you do not live in Africa any longer. Pay attention to skin and beauty care products. I've spoken about that because most of them contain these hormone factors. Some of them contain heavy metals which are able to distort your hormones. Eliminate all forms of toxins. I mentioned some last week. The ones you use in your kitchen, your cookware, the toxins from from so many areas of your life. Look at it. Which area are you harboring toxins? You want to do away with them. And then herbal treatment. You want to use some female hormone balancing creams. Oh, sorry. Let me talk about the herbs first. Female hormone balancing herbs. I mentioned 3 last week. I mentioned the chasteberry, which is Vitex. Black cohosh is also there. Donquay is also there. There are several of them. And then there are the female hormone balancing creams. One is a wild yam cream. Again, Check the label of the white yam cream. Some of them are only rich in estrogen. They do not up the intake of, they do not up the supply of progesterone, natural progesterone in there. You want to do away from such. You want to have a balance because you have a progesterone deficit. That is the reason you are using the female hormone balancing cream. One that is balanced is called the Balanced Woman Cream. Balanced Woman Cream. You want to get that one. I can recommend that, and there are so many others that are in the market. Make sure they are natural and make sure that they are going to do they're going to help you and also help your health. All right. So for those who are just joining us, talking about the Intrasecular College, the number on the screen is the number to call. All of this I'm saying, they are just preambles. I cannot say everything all in 50 minutes on air. You want to come sit down. Don't let people just bamboozle your head. Somebody is selling something, is shaking it in the bottle. If you swallow this pill, you are going to, I was telling them at the bootcamp, somebody said you swallow a pill, you take one concussion, and you go and pull your fat. And I said, okay. Now, it's because you don't know. You want to know. The greatest cure is education. So you want to attend this college. It's taking place next month, August, every Saturday of the month. Wherever you are in the world, you can connect for this class. People are already registering. That is a number on the screen. You can send an SMS to that number, or you can send an SMS to this number as well, and just tell them you want to join the Nutraceutical Health College. It's going to do you good. For those who are watching on Instagram, the number is 234-802-4511-817. You can also send us a DM on Instagram, and somebody is going to attend to you. We're going to attend to you, for you to get on board. So we will not say more than this for today. Oh, okay. I won't forget the bootcamp. Now, the bootcamp coming up in July is specifically targeted. It's a weight loss bootcamp. There is no way you go to the bootcamp that you are not going to have weight loss, happen. But we are targeting towards hormone reset. We will help you reset your hormone, recalibrate the hormone. All the hormones that are playing offside, we want to put them on the spot, on the field of play, that they can begin to score good goals. And all the symptoms of hormones, of hormonal imbalance. We said them in previous edition. So I won't say on this till we'll see you and come your way again next week, Saturday. I remain Deji Alabi. You want to subscribe, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that whenever we get updates, like during the week, there could be about 2 or 3 videos that are released. You want to listen to them and watch them. So please subscribe. If you subscribe, once these videos are dropped, you're going to get the videos and you can watch. My prayer is that God will keep you and keep your loved ones and keep you in good health. Thank you for joining us. Till we come your way same time next week. Remain blessed.